Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kelssweetie, where we read books and we make art. Today, we are covering my June TBR. While I read plenty of queer books throughout the year, I want to use this month to mix up the genres a little bit, get some classics in, some new releases, some romance. I know, who is she? Let's get into the intro, and on the other side of this, we are going to cover a very diverse genre June TBR. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited for this. Hey y'all, so as I mentioned in the intro, which shout out to me for having a short intro for once. I know, truly. Give that girl a time limit and she'll do wondrous things. But as I mentioned, I am really trying to experiment with genres this June, mainly because I read queer novels all year. I mean, last month alone, as I'm recording this, it's a little over halfway through May. I've already read 3 queer novels. Like, regardless of who we're celebrating heritage-wise, we want our books to be gay. So so June is a woozy, it's a wazi, it's fairy dust, it's fine. We're going to read queer books regardless because we already have them on our shelves. But I like to take a bit of a deeper dive and maybe experiment with genres. Last year, I tried my best to try and fit in some queer identities that I don't know as much about, which was, I think it was intersex was something that I really needed to learn more about. I think that in a lot of ways, intersex individuals get mixed up with trans folks, and these are 2 different identities for a reason. So I loved reading about that, and I found one of my favorite novels ever. It's still like top 5, at least top 10, and that's Sorrowland by River Solomon, who is a top 5 author for me. So this year, I wanted to kind of experiment with genres. We're still doing the weird stuff. We're still absolutely getting the weird stuff out. But from last month or this month, it's weird always talking in the past tense with y'all when I'm experiencing it in the present. I really made an effort in May to try and expand my genres, and in some ways it worked, in some ways it didn't. And I'm excited that I kind of did that. I think it helped me move throughout what was starting to become a slump, was a short slump. And I want to do the same this June because after June is July. I already have my July TBR figured out. It's nothing but sci-fi and horror because I figured for July I would focus on something that felt a bit more like dystopian because as an American, it felt right. Obviously. Then going into July, August was Artist Month, and I plan to read a bunch of memoirs by artists. Very excited. Let's get into these books. I have some new releases. I have some classics. I have some books that I have heard about for years now, and I'm finally getting to. I have a book on here that I actually designed. I know. I have one that I soft DNF'd from last year. One that I've not heard hardly anything about, and then another that I've heard plenty about. So, should be exciting. It's a little bit longer because I think that I proved to myself when I focus in and lock in, I can knock out 7 books. I just have to also be willing to go DNF, which this year has been definitely that learning experience. So, let's get into it. Starting with a new release, brand new release, Eat the Ones You Love. I have not heard hardly anything about this book. I'm going to be honest with you. I maybe have heard it once or twice. And then for the Barnes & Noble pre-order sale that they have, which that's blown my boots this year. Twice now I've sat here and taken advantage of it. And it's nice. I can see myself like continuously doing that habit of like the pre-order sale. 1, because honestly, it's affordable. 2, throughout the rest of the quarter, you're getting these little gifts delivered to you. My partner thinks that I'm constantly spending money on books. I'm not. They're just sprinkling throughout as they release. Okay, so this was one of them. I fell in love with the cover. Like, this is just gorgeous, obviously. I'm always cover first. But also, I love that this is a little bit of a Little Shop of Horrors type of thing. So I have a feeling that I'm going to read this and I want to do like a this and watch Little Shop of Horrors vlog moment. Who knows? I've now started releasing reading vlog exclusives over on my Patreon. As y'all know, for the last year, that's been a focus of mine, is to build my Patreon. And I've been experimenting with a lot of different stuff. Thank y'all to my patrons for holding it down as I experiment through things. But I think that I definitely want, and I've been saying this, I've been wanting to do vlogs that are a little less clean. I wanted to move those over to my Patreon, but I still felt like, what exactly do I want to move over there? And I think it's reading vlogs. I think it's, as I move through these novels, filming myself and my thoughts. This way, having a bit more of this long form. I know it seems like I jab my jaws during the wrap-ups, but I could say so much more about these books, especially in the moment. So I have a feeling that I'm going to do a little bit of a vlog regarding this, because it definitely gives Little Shop of Horrors, and you'll definitely hear that once I tell you the synopsis. Do you mind me asking, what kind of help do you need? After losing her job and her fiance and moving back from the city to live with her parents, Shell Pine needs some help, and according to the sign in the window, the florist shop in the mall does too. Shell gets the gig, and the flowers she works with there are just the thing she needs to cheer up. Or maybe it's Nev. Neve? Neve. Yeah, it's Neve, like Neve Campbell. Neve, the beautiful shop manager who is making her days so rosy. But you have to get your hands dirty if you want your garden to grow, and Neve's secrets are as dark and dangerous as they come. In the back room of the flower shop, a young sentient orchid actually runs the show, and he is hungry, and he has a plan for them all. When the choices are to either bury yourself in the warmth of someone else's fertile soil or face the cold and disappointing world outside, which would you choose? And what if putting down roots came at a cost far higher than just your freedom? I love it. It's Little Shop of Horrors. It's Little Shop of Horrors. This is Audrey too. That's what it is. I am very excited to read it, though. It seems very weird, and women loving women. You know, we love it. And this cover still is just amazing. Like, we used foil. We used gloss. The next one on this list is one that I feel like is a new age classic. Like, everybody recommends this, and to be honest, it will be my first of the author, and that is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. Yes, by Emily Austen. Have I read an Emily Austen book ever? No, I haven't. Have I heard plenty about how great her work is, and especially this book? Absolutely. And I finally was able to kind of get my hands on this during I get free books through my job. Shout out. We love it. We love a perk. I've never read it. And I've heard so many good things. Many people have told me you should read this book. You would love this book. I'm excited. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, because if it doesn't impress, I'll be very disappointed. I'm going to read it, although probably all of y'all have either read this book or already know what it's about. But for those who are new here, Gilda can't stop thinking about death. Desperate for relief from her anxious mind, she responds to a flyer for free therapy at a local Catholic church, but Father Jeff assumes she's there for a job interview. Caught off guard and too embarrassed to correct him, Gilda is abruptly hired to replace the recently deceased receptionist, Grace. It's not the most obvious job. She's a lesbian and an atheist for starters, and so in between trying to learn Mass and conducting an amateur investigation into Grace's death, Gilda must avoid revealing the truth of her own mortifying existence. Everyone in this room will someday be dead blends warmth, deadpan humor, and pitch-perfect observations about the human condition in this crackling exploration of what it takes to stay afloat in a world where your expiration and the expiration of those you love is the only certainty. I love it. It's existential. I'm an existential type of girl, so should be a layup, and it doesn't seem that long, which we love. I love a sweet book at this length, as we know. Although I've been reading some longer novels, which has been concerning because I don't want to become that person. This is one that I'm actually coming back to from starting it during February for my I Love Black Horror Challenge, and I actually like this book. I was ready to get started on March's reads. That was House of Horror by Alexis Henderson. So as y'all know, I did not like The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I started it, I got probably about 30% in. I DNF'd. As I've spoken about in length on this channel, I'm not a fan of any sort of puritanical witch stories. It's just, I've tried many different times, and many different times I've just realized it's just not for me. Sorry to everyone who love a good witch story. However, I did start this, and it was interesting. I did love like where they were going with these parallels to the AIDS epidemic during this historical time period, and I really also liked our main character. So it wasn't that I wasn't liking the book, I just was over it. I was just ready to just read something else. And so I soft DNF'd it, and I said I would come back to this during June because this is a queer novel. So y'all probably already know the synopsis on this one, but again, we're going to read it anyways for any of y'all who've not heard of House of Hunger. A young woman is drawn into the upper echelons of a society where blood is power in this dark and enthralling gothic novel from the author of The Year of the Witching. Marion Shaw has been raised in the slums where want and deprivation are all she knows. Despite longing to leave the city and its miseries, she has no real hope of escape until the day she spots a peculiar listing in the newspaper seeking a blood maid. Though she knows little about the far north, where wealthy nobles live in luxury and drink the blood of those in their service, Marion applies to the position. In a matter of days, she finds herself the newest blood maid at the notorious House of Hunger. There, Marion is swept into a world of debauchery, and at the center of it all is Countess Lisabeth. Lisabeth? I'm gonna have to hear the audio on that word. The countess who presides over this hedonistic court is loved and feared in equal measure. She takes a special interest in Marion. Lisabeth is magnetic, and Marion is eager to please her new mistress. But when she discovers that the ancient walls of the House of Hunger hide even older secrets, Marion is thrust into a vicious game of cat and mouse. She'll need to learn the rules of her new home and fast, or its halls will soon become her grave. That was such a long synopsis. I'm so sorry, y'all. I had to do some research, and blood maids were a thing. There was a whole thing. I mean, you know, this is during the 1800s, y'all. They were doing crazy things thinking it was beauty. Taking in blood, people's blood, was a thing. So, because I had thought at first, I was like, why would somebody want to volunteer openly? Like, unless it's like, oh, they're going to turn you into a vampire type of thing. Like on some, oh, I forget who Dracula's like blood maid was, who was like, I just want to be like as strong as you are. I'm gonna put it in the caption down below. But it wasn't supposed to be like, oh, I'm a vampire. It was supposed to be like a little prick, and then they put a little something in their tea or whatever, and it was supposed to give you youth. I know, y'all, but that's what I had to look up because I was just kind of like, why would she sign up for that specifically? As I started reading it, I don't know yet if that's really the case, or if she really did know that she was signing up to be somebody's like vampire blood sucking type of thing, or what. Who knows? But like I said, I did start this. I probably got about 15%, 20% in. Liked what I was reading, just wasn't ready for it at the time. So I'm excited to get back into this and finally finish it. Especially considering I didn't like Year of the Witching, and y'all love Alexis Henderson. And I want to love her. I want to support these Black horror authors. That just wasn't the one for me. Now getting into something completely not related to horror, very much a classic. James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room. I have been meaning to read this for a very, very long time. I am just now getting to it. As we know, me and classics do not do well. I used to be such a, I'm going to read the classics. I'm going to read smart girl, thought daughter books. I'm going to talk about books that I've read, and people are going to think, oh my God, you are so smart. How have you read all those things? She reads War and Peace just because. And then I realized I was doing that for other people, and that's why I got burnt out on reading, and I needed to read for fun again, and that's why I read mainly nothing but fiction now. So I do though feel like this is a very important book. I should read it. I read a couple of James Baldwin's books and everything, but again, I need to spin the block on it because I read those when I was in high school. I read those things when I was in college. One, I hadn't come to terms yet with my own sexuality. I hadn't lived enough to really understand deeply the terms and things that he was talking about. I only understood them on a well level for somebody reading at that age, for sure, but not enough to really get where Baldwin was going. And so I've had this very special edition. Let's get into the cover, guys. It's a moment for the cover. Love, love, love. This very special edition was made for Vintage International Vintage Books, and I got this during my internship at Penguin Random House. Because one, like, I couldn't turn down this cover. This was an amazing cover. I love that they were trying for something bright and different for a classic. I think that a lot, especially Black classics, they get the Toni Morrison treatment, which is the blandest cover ever. I have talked so much about how Toni Morrison's series of novels, they decided on a gem, like a what is it called? A gemstone color palette, like mauves and teals, and then they said, and here's some gold script and some stripes down the spine. That's it. So boring. Nobody wants to pick those books up and have them on their shelves. I rather have any of the first edition novels. Actually, I've kept some Toni, like, I've talked clearly about how Toni Morrison is a little too wordy for your girl, and I get a little lost in the sauce while reading her novels. And even some of her novels that I've kept, it's because her first editions look fun, look great. I don't know who decided let's be boring and only come out with these boring covers for her series of novels, because it's all of them. They all look the same. I'm sorry. I'm upset about it, obviously. But I feel like a lot of even James Baldwin's older works, they go for a very dark, boring, let's use a picture on it type of cover. This filled out the box, and I appreciate that. I think that this looks a lot of fun. I think you would want this front facing on your bookshelf if you're somebody who's doing front facing novels, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that attention to a classic, and especially a Black classic, because I feel like they definitely get darker covers all the time. Let's use a stock image all the time. I think that this actually, they did, they took a painting from somebody's estate and took a picture of it and used it for this. Love it. Absolutely am happy for it. We're going to read the short, thank goodness, synopsis of Giovanni's Room. In the 1950s Paris of American expats. Did I read that right? In the 1950s Paris. Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like there was a comma there. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't read. In the 1950s Paris of American expatriates, liaisons, and violence, a young man finds himself caught between desire and conventional morality. David has just proposed marriage to his American girlfriend, but while she is away on a trip, he becomes involved in a doomed affair with a bartender named Giovanni. With sharp, probing insight, James Baldwin's character narrative delves into the mystery of love and tells a deeply moving story that reveals the unspoken complexities of the human heart. One of the most brilliant and provocative literary figures of the past century, James Baldwin gives us a groundbreaking novel about love and the fear of love. Love it. I've heard great things, but then again, I've heard those things from people who are very much thought daughters who read classics. And I'm hoping that it connects. Who knows? I don't know if it will. I'm hoping it does, though, because I want to be somebody who says, I love Giovanni's Room and recommends Giovanni's Room to others. It's not that I want to go full blast where I was in high school reading classics that I honestly was not enjoying, and I just wanted to be sound and smart. But I do hope that I do enjoy this one. As you know, classics just don't usually sit well with me, and I think it's because of, the ADHD up here. A romance! She has a romance. I know, y'all. It's crazy, but it's also a book that I designed the mechanical for. This is one of the first books that I ever designed a mechanical for. It was during my internship with Penguin Random House, and I'm proud of it. Now, is my little icon down the spine crooked? Can you see that? Yeah, it is crooked. It's not right on the money. Will that forever bother me? Yeah, it will. But also, there's a part of me that goes, this is your first mechanical ever, and it was bound to have issues on it. There you go. Am I still proud of that little spine, and am I going to be, like, having it sit out if I end up, like, well, I think I'm going to keep it anyways, because it's really, I got it really because I wanted this book that, the cover's great. I didn't design the cover. I designed just the spine and the back, but still, this is a wonderful cover. Is it a YA novel? Certainly. certainly it's a YA novel. We have to go into it thinking that. But I am happy. I'm happy to kind of see it and hold it in my hands, and I designed that. I'm still a little baby designer, and to see that this is my first one that I ever made and stuff, and in all actuality, I'm still proud of it. Like, even with that little alignment, which is going to drive me crazy for the rest of my life, I'm still I'm still happy with where I went with it, and all of the other things that I kind of drew from the cover and for the back. I mean, is it just the back? Yeah, but I did that. So, still very happy about it, and for all intents and purposes, even though this is a YA romance, it does sound interesting. Let's get into the synopsis. Plant Witch Sage Bishop intends to run her family's apothecary one day. The doors just have to stay open until she can take over from her Nana. That's why she spends all her time perfecting a heartbreak tonic that'll put Bishop Bruce on the map to compete with the magic superstore. She certainly doesn't need their latest hire. And her ex-best friend, Zemina Reyes, causing any distractions. Alas, at the first sight of Zemina's cheeky smile, Sage flees the shop, allowing someone to break into Bishop Bruce and steal the tonic she's been tinkering with, one that wipes their high school cheer captain's memory. With Bishop Bruce now at the risk of being shut down, Sage reluctantly partners with Zemina to find the culprit. As the mystery deepens, so do pesky old feelings. Their first kiss and Zemina's subsequent ghosting keep replaying in Sage's mind. Will she resist Zemina's charm, or will she let it work its magic for a second chance at love? I love it. I think it's also black and brown interracial love, so we love that. We love it. It's cute. It's light, y'all. It is. It's light, but it's adorable. And sometimes we need just a light read. A light read. So I'm excited to read this. We'll see. I gotta keep in mind this is YA. I can't go into it thinking, hey, I want some deep interaction here. Next one is still a little bit of YA, and it may be why I didn't finish it during reading sprints. Y'all remember when I used to do those? I know. Yeah, I love doing reading sprints, but not honesty. There's too much dip on my chip nowadays for me to keep it up. And that's the honest truth, because I really did want to bring them back. It is what it is. But that is Night of the Living Queers. So this is a short story collection. I started reading it, and it was fine. It wasn't bad or anything, but it's definitely YA. I don't think that... I mean, it's clear that it's YA. It says young adult literature on the back and everything. But I read this when I was basically reading nothing but short story collections during those reading sprints. I read multiple YA short story collections at that point. Technically, The Black Girl Survives in this one is a YA collection. And that blew me away. I think that kind of set the bar really high on what I expect out of YA literature and what I expect out of short stories, period, which is why I have a high bar on those. So I think that was the reason why I wasn't too, like, oh, let me pick this up again about this book. Also, I hadn't figured out yet how to put physical reads into my rotation, which is something that I've accidentally focused on this year entirely. We're going to try and finish this because it was good, and I want to keep this one. I just want to finish it. We're going to go through the synopsis real quick, though. No matter its name, Halloween is more than a Hallmark holiday. It's a symbol of transformation. Night of the Living Queers is a YA horror anthology that explores how Halloween can be more than just candies and frights, but a night when anything is possible. Each short story is told through the lens of a different BIPOC teen and tells the tale of a Halloween night that changes their life forever. Creative, creepy, and queer, this collection brings I'm making up words now on these. Fresh terror, heart, and humor to young adult literature. Night of the Living Queers includes stories from best-selling and acclaimed authors and a few new voices. Kaylin Bayron, Alex Brown, Ryan Douglas, Sarah Frasian, Maya Gittelman, Kasoko Jackson, M.X. Liu, Vanessa Montalban, Shelley Page, Aida Shanabar, Tara Sim, Trang Tan Tran, and Rebecca Kim Wells. Oh my gosh. I'm struggling today, y'all. Let's have some coffee real quick. Just one moment. That was Night of the Living Queers. There are a lot of well-known names on that list. Now, have I read Kaylin Bayron's You Weren't Supposed to Die or You're Not Supposed to Die? It's a slasher one. Yes. Did I like it? No. I wasn't a fan of it. Love Her Down. love what she's putting into the world, but I just wasn't a fan of that book. Ryan Douglas, I think, is the one who wrote Honeys, Honeys, Honeys. And I still need to read that one because I've heard it's actually really good. Kasoko Jackson, heard a lot of their work. They did... Oh, I'm trying to think of, like, I can think of covers, y'all. It's the one that has, like, the skull of the, like, a buck on the front of it. Give the forest its due, something along those lines. MX Liu, I think they're the ones who wrote... Oh, my gosh. A lot of the point of the matter is, Shelley Page, Shelley Page wrote this one. Shelley Page wrote this one and is featured in this one. Trang Tran did the... Oh, I can think of covers, y'all. It's so hard for me to think of titles, but the point of the matter is there's a lot of recognizable names on here. Yeah, I just need to get through this. I really do want to finish it and continue reading it. It's edited by Shelley Page. I'm sorry, all these things are coming together and I didn't realize. But it wasn't... I just hadn't figured out how to read physical novels yet, which is why it's taking me so long to read this. Now I'm finally getting back to it. Oh my god, that was so long. I swear I'm gonna move through these other two much quicker. Next novel I've not seen a lot of, and I don't know if it's because I'm a little late from when it released and when people were really reading it, or people just aren't recognizing it. I've only seen it in certain places, and that's Red X by David Demchuk. I've seen it in a couple of places. I'm not sitting here saying that I found this book or anything. I just haven't seen it a ton. The whole synopsis seemed pretty interesting to me. So, Red X. Men are disappearing from Toronto's gay village. They're the marginalized, the vulnerable, one by one, stalked and banished. They leave behind small circles of baffled, frightened friends against the shifting backdrop of homophobia throughout the decades, from the HIV/AIDS crisis and riots against raids to gentrification and police brutality. The survivors face inaction from the law and disinterest from society at large. But as the missing grow in number, those left behind begin to realize that whoever or whatever is taking these men has been doing so for far longer than is humanly possible. Woven into their stories is David Demchuk's own personal history, a life lived in fear and enthralled to horror, a passion that boils over into obsession. As he tries to make sense of the relationship between queerness and horror, what it means for gay men to disappear, and how the isolation of the LGBTQ plus community has left them profoundly exposed to monsters that move easily among them, fact and fiction collide and reality begins to unravel. A bold, terrifying new novel from the award-winning author of The Bone Mother. Probably the most thought-provoking out of all of these that will be on here. A serious novel for sure. I know. Who is she? She actually has something a little more serious. I got it. But I don't want to say excited, because excited doesn't seem like the right tone for what this book is. But I have heard about it, and when people have talked about it, because that's obviously how I found it, they have talked about it in high regard. So I am really looking forward to finally getting into this. I've had this on my physical TBR for a while. Yeah, this is definitely one that we're have to get into, and it's clear that this is an audiobook. I have to get into looking at this. I'm like, I need to start looking at my audiobooks to make sure that I'm able to access them when the time comes. Final book on my TBR is one that y'all have heard plenty of. He's already putting out another book. He's already put out 5 gag books, as he's known of doing, and that's Chuck Tingle's Bury Your Gays. Now, I know that this is not as beloved as Camp Damascus is. I know that. I did not want to get into Camp Damascus first. And I feel like it's the same thing that happened with Agustina Bastarrica, where I was just like, that's a heavy novel. And I kind of just want to tiptoe into your writing style before I get into it. Camp Damascus is it's all about transitional camp, a transitional camp, a demonizing camp, demonizing of queerness by churches and religion, and it's a lot. And I don't think that I wanted to hop into that just yet. I just wanted to tiptoe into Chuck Tingle's back catalog a little bit. And I've had this actually on my list for a while. Last year during my Sweet Reads awards, y'all said that I would like this, and so I'm giving it a chance. We will see. This should be a little bit more fun though, and this is more aligned with what his off books are, which if you know about Chuck Tingle, you know that he does a lot of gag queer books that are like trashy paperbacks. And I thought that this would be maybe a good midpoint between those that he puts out and his actual novels that he puts out as well, as opposed to Cam Damascus, which is very far removed from his other work. And I know that he's putting out a new book. I can't remember what it's called. Like, it's about luck though, and I love the cover. It's actually gorgeous. Let's get into the synopsis though. Misha knows that chasing success in Hollywood can be hell, but finally after years of trying to make it his big moment is here, an Oscar nomination, and the executives at the studio for his long-running streaming series know just the thing to kick his career to the next level: kill off the gay characters for the algorithm in the upcoming season finale. He refuses, but soon realizes that he's just put a target on his back, and what's worse, monsters from his horror movie days are stalking him and his friends through the hills above Los Angeles. Haunted by his past, Misha must risk his entire future before the silver screen horrors find a way to bury him for good. Seems fun slasher. I'm sure that a fun one will need to be kind of strategically placed between Giovanni's Room and Red X, as we've seen. But I am looking forward to reading this one. I know that, you know, I've heard good reviews overall about this one, but I have heard mixed reviews in comparison to something like Camp Damascus, which had so many amazing reviews and everything, and everyone basically says it's the best thing ever. So, but regardless, I am looking forward to reading this one. That is my TBR for June. As I said, a lot of different genres we're working with here. We're working with slashers, we're working with some serious horror lit, in regards to the AIDS epidemic. We're working with a YA romance, we're working with YA horror short story collection, we're working with some vampire novels, we're working with a Little Shop of Horrors remake. What else do we have in here? A classic, of course, Regina Vadi's Room. We have some lit fic in here. I know. Who is she? She's expanding. We love it. We absolutely love it. As I'm currently sitting here, I know it's a long list in comparison to what I usually read. I usually was putting 5 books on my TBR. I think this month has given me a little bit of false confidence, because somehow I have moved through 3 books in 3 days. And that's just not my usual reading pace. But as long as I keep on proving that's what I can do, I'm going to keep putting that many books on my TBR so we can knock out these books. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Please subscribe down below if you did. I have for the month of June, I have some more top weird lit books coming, some of my favorites. I have some of my favorite queer author book recommendations coming soon. We still have some more Halloween starting to creep through and everything. I'm excited. I'm speaking to y'all from the past in May, so Halloween hasn't officially hit, but with it being June, June is the unofficial start where stores start bringing in Halloween for sure. So y'all are going to see it at some point during this month. Y'all are definitely going to probably see some more Halloween starting to come in, or also one of my how-to Halloween hunt. I really want to get those out before the Halloween hunting really starts, because I know some of y'all are new and to the hunt and everything, and I think that those tips are going to be really helpful for y'all. Yeah, there's a lot happening this June, so make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss a thing. Please like today's video if you liked it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!